I was 74 years old when I finally wrote this down, but I was 19 when I opened room 214 and saw what was waiting at the foot of Wallace Briggs's bed. I remember the smell first. Not blood, not rot, just hotel soap, old wood, desert dust, and something faintly metallic under it, like a penny held too long on the tongue. Wallace was alive. That was the worst part. He lay on his back under the thin white sheet, mouth open, breathing heavy from sleep. His boots were lined up by the chair. His shirt was folded the way lonely men fold things when they have no one left to impress. And at the foot of the bed, placed neatly on the little cushion where guests rested their feet, were two human heads. They were not his. They were clean, dry, eyes closed, faces calm. Two men I had never seen before, resting side by side like they had been tucked in. No blood on the pillow, no blood on the floor, no bloody handprints on the brass bed frame. Nothing disturbed, nothing broken, just two severed heads at the feet of a sleeping man. I dropped the tray. Wallace woke up choking. His eyes opened, found me, then followed my stare down the length of his own body. He looked at the heads. He did not scream at first. His face emptied. That is the only way I can describe it. Like something inside him stepped backward and shut a door. Then he whispered,
"I didn't hear anyone come in."
That sentence stayed with me longer than the heads did. I didn't hear anyone come in. Not, I didn't do it. Not, who are they? Not, God help me. Just that. Like some part of him already understood the important thing was not that the heads were there, it was that they had arrived quietly. The Grand Valley Hotel stood on the edge of a Nevada mining town that should have died before I was born. Locals called it Hell Hotel, not because it was hot, though it was, and not because it was ugly, though in certain light it looked like a coffin with windows. They called it that because people had a way of coming there whole and leaving in pieces, or sometimes not leaving at all. I worked there because my father was dead, my mother was sick, and Mr. Charles Harding paid $3 more a week than the laundry. He had bought the place in 1939, smiling like a man who believed paint could cover history. He called it a business opportunity. The town called it a warning. I was 19, which meant I thought warnings were mostly for older people who had already made their mistakes. The morning of Wallace Briggs, the door to room 214 had been locked from the inside. The window was latched. The transom was painted shut. Wallace swore he had gone to sleep alone. Nobody on the second floor heard footsteps, voices, a struggle, or the wet, impossible work of removing heads from bodies. The sheriff arrived with 2 deputies and a canvas sack. They questioned Wallace until his voice broke. Then they questioned me until mine did.
You unlocked the room yourself?
Yes.
You touched anything?
The tray. After I dropped it.
You recognized the heads?
No.
You sure?
I would remember them. The sheriff did not like that answer. Men like Sheriff Mullen preferred death to be useful. A body told you who. A wound told you how. Blood told you where. But 2 clean heads in a locked room told him nothing except that the world had opened in a place he could not arrest. Mr. Harding tried to laugh it off in the lobby, but the laugh came out thin and wrong.
Someone is trying to ruin me.
He said it to the sheriff, to me, to the traveling salesman pretending not to listen from the settee, and finally to himself. Someone. That was the word he needed. Someone meant a rival hotel owner. Someone meant a prankster. Someone meant human hands and human motives. The alternative was too large for him to stand under. The heads were taken away before noon. By supper, every person in town knew. By morning, the story had already changed 3 times. Some said Wallace had brought them in a valise. Some said I had. Some said the heads belonged to 2 brothers who vanished in 1911. But the sheriff sent descriptions to 3 counties, then 7, then the state police. No one claimed them. No missing bodies matched them. It was as if those men had never had lives below the neck. Wallace left 2 days later. He walked out with his hat pulled low and his suitcase held against his chest like a shield. I watched him from the front desk. He never looked down the hallway. He never looked at the stairs. When he passed me, his mouth moved.
It was already there before I woke up.
What was?
The weight.
I did not understand him then. A week later, Mrs. Crabtree stopped me outside the Mercantile. She was small, bent, and dry as kindling, with eyes that made you feel caught even when you had done nothing wrong. She had lived in that town for 60 years and hated the hotel with the patience of someone waiting for a grave to reopen.
If you wake in the night and feel something heavy at your feet, don't look.
What does that mean?
It means don't give it your face.
I almost laughed. Almost. But her hand closed around my wrist, and there was nothing theatrical in her fear.
People think eyes are how a thing sees you. They're wrong. Some things only need you to see them first.
I pulled away because I was young and embarrassed to be frightened in daylight. But that night, in my little staff room behind the laundry, I slept with my knees tucked up and my feet nowhere near the edge of the bed. For a while, nothing happened. The hotel returned to its dull rhythm. Sheets, towels, dust, men with sunburned necks and empty pockets. The front bell, the kitchen pump, Mr. Harding's shoes pacing above his office late into the night. Then came Blind Sam. Everybody called him Blind Sam, though he saw better than most. He was old, mean, and proud of both. He came in smelling of tobacco and desert wind, asked for a room away from the road, and told Mr. Harding he did not scare easy.
I slept through a cave-in once.
Then room 219 should suit you fine.
I carried towels to his room that evening. Sam sat on the bed, rubbing his ankles, his hat still on. 3 candles stood on the dresser, though every room had electricity. He saw me looking.
Bulbs lie.
Sir?
Electric light makes corners think they're hidden. Firelight keeps them honest.
I set the towels down and tried not to glance at the foot of his bed.
You're the girl found Briggs.
Yes.
He tell you about the weight?
My hands went still. He said something.
You feel it? You get up. You don't look. You don't pray. You don't ask who's there. You put your feet on the floor and you go.
Mrs. Crabtree said not to look.
Then she's not as useless as she looks.
He smiled, but there was no humor in it. When I left, I heard him drag the armchair against the door. The next morning, Sam did not come down. Mr. Harding looked at me across the front desk. His eyes were red. He knew, I knew. Neither of us said anything. He handed me the master key and we climbed the stairs together. Room 219 was locked from the inside. Mr. Harding knocked until the hallway seemed to shrink around us.
Sam, Mr. Whitaker, open the door.
Nothing. He used the key. The chair inside blocked the door for a moment, then gave way inch by inch. Sam lay in bed on his back, arms at his sides, face slack with a peace that felt insulting. He was dead. At the foot of the bed were 3 heads, all with closed eyes, all clean, all resting as if asleep. Mr. Harding made a noise I had never heard from a grown man, not a scream, not a sob, but something torn loose from the bottom of him. I backed into the dresser, and one of Sam's candles fell over, though it had burned out hours before. The 3 heads were strangers again, 2 men and 1 woman. The woman's gray hair had been braided. There was dust in the braid, not fresh dust, old dust, grave dust, though I had no reason to know that, and every reason not to think it. Sheriff Mullen came, the doctor came. Mrs. Crabtree stood across the street and watched the upstairs window without blinking. That afternoon, Mr. Harding closed the bar, sent the cook home, and drank alone in his office. I heard glass hit glass until sunset. Near dusk, he called me in.
Margaret, how much do I pay you?
$11 a week.
I'll make it 15.
I don't want 15.
Everyone wants more money.
I want to sleep somewhere else. He looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time I saw that he was not only frightened, he was ashamed. He had bought a thing he did not understand, and now it had begun introducing itself.
Just through the season, please. I can't run this place alone.
I should have left. That is the plain truth. Every terrible story has a place where someone should have walked away and did not. Mine was $15 a week and a mother who needed medicine. So I stayed. The hotel changed after Sam, not in ways a person could point to directly. The wallpaper did not bleed, the mirrors did not show strangers, but the building became attentive. That is the word, attentive. When I walked the second-floor hall, I felt the rooms listening through their keyholes. When I made beds, the sheets seemed warmer at the foot than at the head. Sometimes I entered an empty room and found the footstool moved 3 inches closer to the mattress. At night, the hotel made small sounds that stopped whenever I sat up. A pipe knocking once, a board sighing, a soft pressure in the walls, like a large animal turning in sleep. I began to notice old things, little things. In every room, the bed faced the door, but the foot always pointed slightly inward, not square with the wall. In the lobby carpet, faded gold lines crossed beneath the furniture in angles that made no decorative sense. The basement door stuck only when you tried to open it from above. From below, it swung smooth. I know, because I went down there. Mr. Harding sent me for extra linens after the laundry shelves ran low. The basement smelled the way room 214 had smelled beneath the soap and dust, copper and something sweet. I carried a lamp because 2 bulbs had burned out in the stairwell, and the flame trembled though there was no draft. The Grand Valley basement should have been a rectangle. I knew the building. I knew where the kitchen sat, where the office sat, where the east wall met the foundation. But below ground, the corridors bent wrong. Storage rooms opened where there should have been packed earth. Narrow passages angled off and returned too soon. I found a linen cabinet behind an old wardrobe that I had never seen before. And when I moved the wardrobe, the wall behind it had a niche. Inside were papers wrapped in oilcloth. Blueprints. I took them upstairs and spread them over the dining room table after midnight. Mr. Harding stood over me in his shirt sleeves, hair uncombed, breath sour with whiskey. The main floor looked normal: lobby, dining room, office, stairs. The second and third floors looked normal: rows of rooms, service closets, fire exits. But the basement plan was not a rectangle. It was a 5-pointed star turned upside down, its lowest point reaching beneath the kitchen, its upper points stretching under the east and west wings. At the center was a small circle. From each point, a line ran inward. In the margin, written in blue pencil, were the words, "Bodies along the rays, heads towards the center." Mr. Harding sat down hard.
No.
He said it like the paper had accused him.
No, this isn't real.
It's your hotel.
It is not mine.
That was the first honest thing he ever said about it. There were dates on the drawings, 1920. But beneath those, scratched faintly as if copied from older paper, was another year, 1873. I traced one line with my finger and felt the table vibrate under the blueprint. Mr. Harding snatched my hand away.
Don't touch the center.
Why? He did not answer. He was looking at the plan with an expression I recognized from Wallace Briggs, a face emptying, a man seeing that something had been in the room long before he woke. The third case happened in November. His name was Peter Vale, 22 years old, too handsome for the kind of bad luck that followed boys into mining towns. He arrived with a canvas bag, a new shovel, and a photograph of a girl he showed anyone who would look. He asked for a room with morning sun. Mr. Harding gave him room 308, because by then he had begun leaving certain rooms empty without explaining why. Room 308 was supposed to be safe. I saw Peter on the stairs that night. He was smiling to himself, carrying a cup of coffee.
Miss, you ever feel like a place knows your name before you say it?
In this town, everyone knows everyone's business.
Not like that.
He looked down toward the lobby. The lamps flickered once.
When I signed the register, I almost wrote something else.
What?
I don't know. It started with a star.
I wanted to tell him to leave. I wanted to take his bag from him, pull him down the stairs, push him into the road if I had to. But Mr. Harding was at the desk, watching. $15 a week, medicine, my mother coughing into a towel at home. So I said nothing. At 3 in the morning, I woke in my staff room because the air had changed. Not colder, thicker. I lay still in the dark and listened. Somewhere above me, a man whispered. Then a bed frame gave one soft creak. I did not get up. That is the part I hated myself for longest. At 7, Peter did not come down. Mr. Harding did not ask me to go with him. He went alone, then came back to the lobby with his face gray and his collar soaked through. He tried to speak, but only pointed upward. Room 308 was unlocked. Peter lay in bed with his body under the covers, hands resting on his chest, as if someone had arranged him for viewing. His head was not on his neck. It was at his feet, on the foot cushion, facing him. His eyes were open. His mouth was open too, just a little, as if the last word had gotten stuck behind his teeth. There were no other heads this time, only his. That made it worse, because the first 2 times, the horror had arrived like an offering. This time, it had taken from the bed itself. I moved closer before anyone could stop me. I do not know why. Maybe because I was 19 and horror still pulled as much as it repelled. maybe because his face looked like it needed someone to understand it. His open eyes were not looking at the ceiling. They were looking toward his own body, toward the place where his feet made two small hills beneath the blanket. On the wall above the bed, written in dust where no finger had touched, were 5 words, "Almost in the right place." Sheriff Mullen quit that afternoon. He did not make a speech. He placed his badge on Mr. Harding's desk and walked out. The state sent men 2 days later, but they came with notebooks and left with quieter voices. No one closed the hotel. Nobody wanted the responsibility of admitting why it should be closed. The town learned to cross the street rather than pass under our sign. At night, I began tying a string around my ankle and fastening the other end to the bedpost near my pillow. It was foolish, but foolish things become holy when fear needs a ritual. I told myself if anything pulled at my feet, I would feel the string. I told myself I would wake before the weight came. Mrs. Crabtree came to the hotel one evening with a covered dish no one had asked for. She found me folding napkins in the dining room.
You still sleeping here?
Some nights.
Then you're already partway down,
Down where?
where it keeps the rest.
Mrs. Crabtree sat across from me and lowered her voice, though we were alone.
In 1873, before the hotel, there was a winter camp out there. Prospectors, 22 of them. Snow came early, food went bad, men started sleeping foot to foot around the fire to keep warm. That's what the old story says.
And?
Come spring, they found the camp arranged in a circle, bodies laid like spokes, heads at the center, every face turned down.
Who did it?
That's the question people ask when they want to stay sane.
What question should they ask?
What was being built?
The lamps dimmed around us. Mrs. Crabtree looked toward the floor.
This place is not haunted, Margaret. Haunted means the dead remain. This is worse. This is a place that learned where people belong.
People belong with their heads on their bodies.
Do they? Or is that just how we travel?
I stood so fast the chair tipped back. Don't say things like that to me.
Then leave before it says them better.
That night, I packed one bag. I remember the exact sound of my few belongings going into it. Brush, dress, stockings, Bible, pay envelope. I placed my shoes by the door so I could leave at first light. Then I lay down fully dressed. I woke sometime after midnight. At first, I did not know why. The room was black except for a stripe of moonlight under the curtain. My mouth was dry. My hands were cold. The string around my ankle lay slack. Then I felt it. Weight at the foot of the bed. Not pressure on my legs, not someone touching me. The mattress had dipped near my feet, slowly, gently, as if a person had sat down there and was trying not to wake me. I kept my eyes closed. My heart beat so hard I felt it in my ears. I remembered Mrs. Crabtree's hand on my wrist. Don't look. I remembered Sam. You feel it. You get up. You don't pray. You don't ask who's there. The mattress sank another inch. Something breathed. Not beside my face. Not at the door. Down there, at my feet. Slow, wet, patient. I wanted to scream, but my throat had locked around the scream and would not let it out. The room smelled of copper and sweet rot. My toes were pointed toward the weight. I could feel the heat of it through the blanket. Then the whisper came, not from a mouth, from the lower part of the room, from where the darkness gathered around my feet.
You're almost ready.
The words entered me like a hand under the ribs. My eyes fluttered. I almost looked. That was the trap. I knew it with a certainty deeper than thought. If I looked, I would see my own head resting at the foot of the bed. I would see my face with eyes closed, waiting for me to recognize it. And the moment I recognized it, something in the world would agree. The weight leaned closer.
Just see where you are.
I tore the string from my ankle. I threw myself sideways off the bed, not toward the door at first, just away from the foot. My shoulder hit the floor. Pain burst white behind my eyes. I kept them squeezed shut and crawled until my hand found the wall. The breathing changed. It was behind me now, low, amused. I stood without looking down. My feet hit the cold boards. I ran blind for the door, slapped at the knob, opened it, and fell into the hallway. Only then did I open my eyes. The hall stretched too long in both directions. Every door was closed. At the far end, something pale moved near the floor. Not walking, not crawling, just shifting in pieces. I ran barefoot down the stairs. Mr. Harding came out of his office holding a revolver.
What happened?
It was in my room.
Did you see it?
No.
Good.
He said it too quickly. I stared at him. You knew.
I suspected.
You knew. His hand shook around the gun.
I hear it too.
For a moment, the hotel went completely silent. No pipes, no wind, no settling boards. It was listening.
Every night from the basement, it says my name, like it's reading it from a list.
Then close the hotel.
And tell them what?
Tell them the truth.
The truth doesn't pay debts.
I slapped him. I had never struck anyone before. He did not raise the gun. He did not even touch his face.
I deserve that.
You deserve worse.
I'm going to fix it.
Those are dangerous words in a horror story. I did not know that then, but I know it now. I'm going to fix it almost always means I am about to feed it. He went to the basement 2 nights later. I found out because I heard the basement door open after midnight. I stepped into the lobby and saw Mr. Harding at the top of the stairs with a lantern in one hand and a crowbar in the other. His coat was buttoned wrong. His face had the calm look of a man who had already decided not to survive. Don't go down there.
If the center is broken, the pattern breaks.
You don't know that.
I know it wants arrangement, so I'll ruin the arrangement.
Charles. That was the only time I used his first name. He looked back at me, and I saw the man he might have been if he had bought a grocery store or a boarding house or any building that did not dream in geometry.
Lock the door after me.
No.
Margaret, lock the door.
He descended before I could stop him. The lantern light slid down the stairwell, shrinking with each step. I stood at the top, one hand on the railing, listening. For a while, there was only the sound of him moving below, metal scraping, wood breaking, his breath. Then, the crowbar struck something that did not sound like stone. The hotel answered. Every door in the lobby opened 1 inch. From below, Mr. Harding screamed, not long, not loud, just once, cut short in the middle as if a hand had closed over the scream and folded it away. Then came a wet, dragging sound across the ceiling above me. I looked up. A single muddy boot print appeared on the plaster. Then another, upside down, walking toward the basement door from above. I ran into the street and did not stop until I reached Mrs. Crabtree's porch. She opened the door before I knocked, like she had been standing there all night.
He went down.
I nodded.
Then he belongs to it now.
The men found the basement empty at dawn, not disturbed, not destroyed. The crowbar lay in the center of the star. The lantern was still burning beside it. On the floor, fresh moisture seeped up through the boards, dark and copper-smelling. On the ceiling, directly above the center point, was one perfect boot print. Only one, as if Charles Harding had taken a step there and then continued somewhere the ceiling was only the beginning of. The hotel closed after that, not officially. There were no papers, no court order. People simply stopped entering. I left town a week later with my mother's medicine, 2 dresses, and the guilt of every door I unlocked. But the Grand Valley was not done. They tore it down in April of 1941. I did not go back to watch. Mrs. Crabtree wrote to me afterward, 3 pages in a cramped hand, each line worse than the last. The workers expected a foundation. They found a hollow below it, then another below that. The basement star had been only the first level. Below it was a second star, larger. Below that, a third. 17 levels down. No one could explain how they had been dug. No one could explain why they had not collapsed. Men quit. Machines stalled. An excavator died with its bucket pressed against a stone slab, engine smoking, gears locked. At 40 feet below the natural ground, they found the deepest chamber. Only one object was inside. A human skull, face down. On its forehead, someone had carved an upside-down star. Inside the skull was a rolled blueprint of the Grand Valley Hotel. The date on it was 1870, 3 years before the prospectors died. 69 years before Charles Harding bought the building. Long before anyone should have known where the lobby would be, where the stairs would stand, where room 214 would wait for Wallace Briggs to wake up and say he had heard nothing come in. The words at the bottom of the blueprint were written in the same blue pencil as the basement plans. For those who come to sleep. I spent 55 years telling myself I escaped because I did not look. That was the lie that let me marry, work, bury my mother, bury my husband, and grow old without screaming every time a mattress shifted near my feet. But age removes lies gently at first, then all at once. 2 nights before I wrote this, I woke in my room at the nursing home. Clean sheets, white walls, no desert, no hotel, no star beneath the floor, as far as anyone living would admit. And still, the foot of my bed was lower than it should have been. I kept my eyes closed. The breathing was there. Older now, or maybe I was.
Margaret,
I did not move.
you walked away before we placed you.
My feet were cold. My hands were folded over my chest like Peter Vale's. Somewhere down the hall, a nurse laughed softly at something ordinary. The world continued, rude and bright, while the old dark sat at the end of my bed.
You're still almost ready.
That is why I am writing this, for my granddaughter, and for anyone who thinks old hotels are only wood, dust, and bad plumbing. They are not. Some buildings are mouths. Some rooms are instructions. Some beds are not for rest. They are diagrams waiting for bodies to complete them. If you wake at night and feel weight at your feet, do not check. Do not lift the blanket. Do not tell yourself it is only a cat, only a coat, only your own fear making shapes in the dark. Get up. Walk. Do not look back, because it does not come to kill you. It comes to put you where it thinks you belong.